All right, I do believe we're on YouTube Live right now for On the Hunt episode 40, believe it or not. Pretty crazy to think that we are already 40 episodes in to this podcast. Absolutely craziness, but again, episode 40 today. So, let me introduce you to the gentleman on the screen who really need no introduction, but we do it as a formality anyway. We have got the number one Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless. Bobby, how's it going?
What's up, guys? I'm good today, Elijah, man. We got something to actually talk about. And you know what? I miss you guys. But might as well just throw it out there. Listen, I'm ready to talk about some football, brother.
Hey, you know what? I always look forward to Tuesday nights. I always look forward to it. And part of that, a huge part of that, is being able just to talk with these fellows on the screen. Doesn't even have to be about Lions football. I just enjoy talking to them. But we also want to introduce Mr. Nate Rucker. Nate, how's it going, man?
Y'all see what I say? Straight out of Detroit.
Hey.
Hey, nothing more, nothing less. Nah, man, but it's a good day, man. I just want to send some prayers out to my guy, TJ Montague, who was hit and badly injured, man, while he was on his bike. So just wish him, man, a speedy, prayerful recovery to my guy all the way down in Texas, man. He ain't a Lions fan, but that guy sitting here with me real good. So big prayers out, man, to my guy TJ.
Be well soon, brother.
Very much so. So obviously we don't have Reggie Funchess on the screen right now. We're hoping that Reggie will be able to pop in a little bit later on in the show. But taking Reggie's place, I guess you would say, for at least a little bit anyway,
Slinky.
Miss Slinky Dog. Yeah, that's right. Miss Slinky Dog Winfrey, who is with me right now. She's a little camera shy at the moment, but there you go. She is the little puppy that you see on all of our logos and stuff. So if you're ever like, why is there a dog logo? It's not some random dog. It's this dog. Right. So anyway, hey, some companies do that though. You're like, why is their logo that? And they do this over here. You get what I'm saying. But anyway, so we're going to get things started tonight by actually talking about something new for our studio. And then we will get into the Lions conversation that you are familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and the fellows will tell me if this is working right. Hopefully it will be.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Looks good, brother.
This is our new studio store website. So this is where you can get all sorts of good merchandise that has to do with our studio. And I'll give you the website link here on the podcast, but I'll also post it in the comments below after we upload this video. It's Elijah Winfrey Studio Store.myshopify.com. Okay. But as you can tell, there is a ton of different merchandise options here. For example, I just showed you Slinky Dog. Well, guess what? You can get yourself a Slinky shirt, and it looks pretty good to me. I know we were at an event, I think it was like a month ago now, maybe a month and a half ago. And it was funny because people were looking at all the different movie shirts we had, and they were looking at our logo, and they're like, man, your movie shirts look cool, but I'd love to get one with that little dog on it. So there we go. So all those people that said that, you better buy a shirt because we went through the process of making one. But anyway, all this movie merchandise, you can get, the soundtrack for Billy Badass. You can get a copy of Billy Badass if you want. Captain Corp stuff. You can also get some of our other podcast merchandise like the Licorice Pizza Show. If you're a music fan, check that show out on our channel. Movies That Move Me, that's one that I do where I talk about films that made me want to be a filmmaker. So you can check out those shirts there if you want to support that. But mainly, I wanted to show you guys On the Hunt. That's right. We have got t-shirts as well. We have a black t-shirt and a white t-shirt. So I'll show you the black one here for a couple of seconds.
It's black, it's white. Yeah.
So that is the black shirt. Okay, that's the black shirt. And we also have this white shirt. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but he's living his best life. That's for sure. But anyway, that is the white shirt that we have available. And I
thought that was you, Elijah.
Man, I wish I was that size. Anyway, speaking of size, by the way, we go from small all the way up to 6XL for our sizes on our studio store. It's important to us to make sure that everybody can be a fan if they want to be. regardless of their size. So again, small to 6XL, you can pick your, your size, and hopefully we have it in stock. But again, all these shirts are made to order. Okay. So if you order them, give a little bit of extra time, because we are doing this as like a mom and pop operation. My wife actually is the one who designs the shirts and makes the shirts. So, but like I said, we wanted to let you know that those are available. So they start at about $20. And again, we have the black and white options. And again, I will post this link down below so that you have that as well. But for folks who have been asking us, hey, when are you going to have some merchandise? There we go. We officially have some merchandise for you. So we hope that you will check that out. Coffee mugs is the next big thing that we're going to be doing. It's just taking us a little bit to figure out that operation. But again, we do have merchandise available, and we hope that you will check those out, maybe make some purchases, because every purchase helps this show get better and help us do things that we've been talking about doing. Like last season, we talked about wanting to get out to Detroit and do a live episode. That's still something that we want to do. We want to be able to do like a watch party type deal with some of our games this season. But again, we can't do that without side. So help us out there. We greatly appreciate it. With that being said, hey, make sure you're leaving comments down below for us, like and subscribe. We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers right now. We are at 408. 408 feels great, but 1,000 would feel a lot better. Okay, so help us get there. We do want to get into our Lions discussion now. I think I've covered all the commercials I was supposed to do before we could do that. So let's talk about Jared Goff. Now, we're not going to talk about Jared Goff the way that we did on the last episode, because that took about an hour and a half. But we want to talk good
Hey,
about
Bobby don't want no shit. I don't want no shit out of you, Elijah.
Hey, listen, I am only going to give you the best tonight, okay? Only the best for Bobby Bless. But anyway, Bobby, Jared Goff and his leadership. We've been hearing a lot about it early on in camp. What do you have to say about Jared Goff's leadership? And then toss it to Nate for me.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what my brother Elijah said. Yeah, we ain't gonna be fussing about Jared Goff. We actually gonna be team Jared Goff tonight, all of us. But make a long story short is, when it's all about morale. Me and they always say, man, it don't even nothing to count more than morale. When the guy Jared Goff is just a leader. He's been in this league. He been, the butt of everybody jokes. He been pretty much to the top to the Super Bowl. So he experienced a lot of different things. And one of the most important qualities in a leader is a guy that actually been through something. They've been to the top, fell down and got back. Those are the best leaders. And I say that you can get that with Jared Goff. I'm gonna throw it to Nate because, believe it or not, Nate had a little info tidbit about Jared Goff and Denzel Mims that I didn't know myself, and I'm pretty eager to hear. So I don't want to talk. Go ahead, Nate. Tell us, get us together.
Well, man, one of the things, as you know, man, we talked about it, how we had questions about Matthew Stafford leadership when it came to the players. Yeah, he definitely restructured his contract, helped the franchise out, but you never heard a lot about him calling guys up, hey, let's get this time together. Hey, if he did, more power to him. But as of what we do know and has been everywhere is that Jared Goff had all of his receivers with him. All of them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, and getting these guys out here so that they could get on one page, and that's crazy though. But what that tells you is just how much these guys are in tune and that they got this playbook down. And so now it's just about the timing thing, because we talk about Jared Goff being a precision passer. So when you see these guys running routes and when they turn around, the ball's already in their face, this is where that execution and all that comfort comes from. So, to me, man, that is huge. And, on top of that, we made an acquisition. We acquired Denzel Mims, 6'3", ran a 4.35 and a 4.38 at the combine, third-year guy.
That boy fast. He fast, man.
Yeah. Like I said, it didn't work out. in New York, but again, he had a box cutter throwing the ball to him, I think. But the first thing Jared Goff did, man, was put out a complimentary phone call to him, welcome him to the team, letting him know where they were going to be at so that he can come in, get some run, get comfortable with the guys, get to know the quarterback so the quarterback can get to know you so that, hey, I'm only going to be as good as you are. So guess what? Let's be great together. Let's get this team where we want to be. And to me, man, that is huge. I love it. Eli, what you think?
So as far as Goff's leadership, I'll start with that. I will say that I do have a lot of respect for Jared Goff and the way that he kind of handles himself and handles his business. He's been somebody who, without going overboard, if he doesn't agree with something, he's going to tell you that he doesn't agree with it. And I know that was, as much as I do like Matthew Stafford, that was a big issue that a lot of folks had with Matthew Stafford, is they felt like
he was a yes guy.
He only said the company, policy type things like, oh, well, I'm going to have no comment on this. And it's like, okay, but we saw you on the field be animated about what happened. So why can't you just be real with us and tell us how you really feel?
Right.
But hey, different styles for different people. But Jared Goff, he does seem like he's somebody who, if he doesn't agree with something, he's going to tell you. If he does agree with something, he's going to tell you, and everywhere in between. And he also seems to have the ear of the players, which, that's not easy to do. I know we often look at that as, kind of a prerequisite to being a quarterback, but we also need to give credit where it's due. I mean, these are grown men we're talking about here. So the fact that you can be a leader of men, that to me is impressive. Yes, he should be doing that, but it's still impressive that he's able to do that in the way that he's been able to do it. I love the fact that he called Denzel Mims. If anybody's going to understand being thrown away by a team, it's Jared Goff, because he had that situation with the Rams where he got thrown away like a piece of trash, came to Detroit and said, hey, I'm good. I was not the issue here. Maybe I wasn't what they needed in the moment, but I'm not a bum either. And so I like what he did with calling Denzel Mims. And as far as Denzel Mims is concerned, I kind of went through like a roller coaster of thoughts with Denzel Mims. And I know he's only been on the team for a couple of days now, so people might be saying, why are you going through a roller coaster for only a couple of days? When I first heard about him, I said, I vaguely remember him. I vaguely remember him playing at Baylor and being a pretty good wide receiver. I also remember him having a bunch of speed. But then when I looked up his NFL stats and I saw that he had never scored a touchdown with the Jets in the regular season, I'll be honest with you, it did give me a little bit of cause for pause. But then, like Nate said, you got to look at who was throwing him the ball. And to be honest with you, while I can name them just because I do live in New York, that doesn't mean they're any good. Okay, that doesn't mean they're any good. So if you're not living in New York, which I'd imagine is most of the people watching this show right now, do me a favor. Name the last 5 New York Jet quarterbacks outside of Zach Wilson.
Man.
You probably can't do that. Okay. If you say Chad Pennington, that's a little bit too far back. But for Denzel Mims, I love it. He seems motivated. He seems like he's got a big chip on his shoulder. He even said he does. He doesn't seem like he's one to, mix his words. So that's cool. I just hope he can back it up. He's not coming to a team that is wide receiver desperate. He's coming to a team that's got some good wide receivers. So if he's going to do what he needs to do in his career, which is show, hey, I'm for real, this is the place to do it, but it's not going to be easy either. Because all those guys that are, he's potentially taking their jobs, they're not just going to give him the job. So That's my personal opinion. But Bobby, what do you think about Denzel Mims?
Honestly, to be all the way 100, he was kind of a guy that I heard of before. With my beautiful wife being a Packer fan, she actually looked up college stuff too, because she be wanting good players come to her team. And she actually thought they were going to pick Denzel Mims, but they end up picking the quarterback, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, so
Jordan Love.
it was always a player that I heard of because I was like, damn, that little skinny ass dude fast. But I always call skinny dudes fast because you never see too many fast dudes. But make a long story short, it's a guy that I heard of before, and I knew he was pretty good because I getting confused with the damn down south teams. I thought he went to TCU, but it was Baylor, so he was in Texas. So, make a long story short, I heard of him before, and I also knew that that he wasn't injured a lot. He just wasn't getting no clock. So, the fact that Jared Goff seen another disrespected comrade, he was able to have that edge on people. Most people, when they felt they done wrong, it's just a natural habit to want to go back and get they what's right. So we got a guy that's what they say frothing at the mouth to get out there, and I think Denzel Mims is going to be if he can get one touchdown, he already did better than what the hell he did with the Jets, right? So. Right. I think he can only impress. I don't think he can really disappoint, to be honest, if you get what I'm looking at, Elijah.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that this does not become, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of pocket when I say this, but I just hope that this is not a situation like Trinity Benson, where we heard a lot of hype about what Trinity Benson was going to be or what he could be, and then it never really happened. And I know for Brad Holmes, this is he does like to take weighted shots. I'll call it weighted shots because he thinks about what he's going to do before he does it. But he does take, shots and opportunities on guys that maybe other people wouldn't. And he did that with Trinity Benson. He's doing it again here with Denzel Mims. And that's one of those talents that you look for in a general manager is, okay, when everybody else thinks you're crazy, can you stick to your guns and find something that's going to work out? This is one of those situations where some people are thinking he's crazy. Like Jets fans are celebrating the fact that this guy's gone. So can we make those Jets fans regret the fact that this guy is gone? If you get what I'm saying. And wouldn't that be something if Aaron Rodgers, who they try to give a lot of credit to for how he's able to help receivers, wouldn't it be something if Jared Goff turns this guy into an all-pro?
And you
it
know
would
what?
Be nice.
It's crazy because I think Aaron Rodgers, he would have benefited from Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, because Denzel Mims at Baylor. So his NFL average per catch, his average is 16.9 yards of reception.
Right.
His average at Baylor was 15.7.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 28 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, and 186 receptions in 3 years. So it's not the guy. It's the box cutters and the switchblades that's throwing them the ball. So, I mean, if you have a guy who's not, I'm not even just going to say him. Let's be honest. That Jets offensive line was trash too.
Right.
It's the reason multiple quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And opposite of us, they went out to build their defense first. I look at Denzel Mims and I look at a guy, like I say, 6'3", 205 pounds, 210 now, ran sub 4.4 with good hands, excellent ability to separate. Hence the reason why he went where he did.
Right.
It's just that he had guys that couldn't get the ball to him. So, I mean, truthfully, let's be honest. I don't think he has to do is be better than DJ Chark.
And just
Chark did good, Nate. Chark did good when he was out there.
No, without question. That's not a knock on DJ. But remember, we let DJ walk. You didn't re-sign him. You didn't go after DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm with you now.
What you did was you made a more not so subtle move for a young, hungry wide receiver who was taken early. So the talent is there. So now he's got a chip on his shoulder to prove, hey, the Jets didn't make the wrong pick with me. they made the wrong choices at quarterback to get me the ball.
Right.
I like that.
So, and he's coming here. He doesn't have to be one. He doesn't have to be number two. So I'll take 6'3" running that speed.
Yeah.
With him matched up on linebackers, him matched up on safeties, him matched up against the fourth, fifth corner, and in a nickel or a dime defense. I'll fucking take that.
Yeah, and if he end up being good, we'll have first dibs on resigning. So that is a good point, Nate.
So
hell yeah.
Here's one final question on Denzel Mims before we move on. The fact that he hasn't scored a touchdown in the NFL, because you know Lions fans, we grab a stat, we hold on to that stat with our dear lives, and until new information presents itself, that's usually the stat that we always talk about. So I already know Lions fans are talking about the fact that he did not score a touchdown with the Jets. How much of that do you think plays into his mentality as a wide receiver, being that he was not a bad wide receiver at Baylor? Like, he was scoring touchdowns, like mentality wise, and this is for Nate and Bobby. How do you think he's dealing with that? I mean, because I would imagine that is a big deal to him to get that first touchdown, to get that bad taste out of his mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll grab it, Nate. Earlier when we was talking about it, I said frothing at the mouth. That's going to be the main ingredient for him frothing at the mouth, because he ain't got the game, the stadium, people at home. When that guy get that ball in that paint, it changed the whole vibe of everything. You could be going one way, getting your butt whooped, but when that touchdown is optimism, you see yourself winning. You accomplish what the goal is when you got the ball, getting the ball in the touchdown. So, of course, and as a football player, don't nobody dream and play in the backyard about getting first down. They do their touchdown end zone there. Basically, what I'm getting to, my guy want to dance. He want to dance in the end zone. Let him dance. God, shout out this is Mims.
Nate, did you have anything to say on that before we keep it moving?
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, the touchdown thing it's like riding a bike. It's not something that you forget how to do. Number one, I can't score if I don't get the opportunities.
Right.
That's a prime example. Like, how many people forget, our great Herman Moore? He didn't have a touchdown his first year in Detroit either. He ended up with 4 touchdowns the next year, and then he ended up with 5. But what I'm saying is that you can only score when you have a guy that gives you the opportunities to score.
Mm-hmm.
So the talent.
Yeah.
Huh? Go ahead,
like we was talking about last week with Alex Smith. He went a whole year without even throwing the ball to the touchdown for a wide receiver.
Right.
So it's all about I'm gonna say it is 90% on the motherfucker to even throw you the ball. So
it is.
So I don't know, but if he ain't dropped none, I can't blame him for real if he ain't even getting the opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So guess what? You can't say it ain't like he came out and was Eric Ebron and had a shitty workout, then was shitty here dropping. He was the most opportunistic pass dropper I've ever seen.
Wide open. Wide open.
So one of my guys, his name is Kevin Franklin. He called Eric Ebron the drive killer.
Mm-hmm.
Because of these opportunistic drops. Yeah, he ended up going to Indianapolis, played with Andrew Luck, made 1 Pro Bowl.
He's still out the league. He's still out the league. He should still be in the league.
But my point is, he still was dropping passes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
They gave him the chance in the end zone. He was able to convert some, but he still was dropping passes. So you talking about a guy who you gave multiple chances to, who converted some, versus a guy who couldn't convert none because he didn't have those opportunities.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with the Denzel Mims thing. But from everything that I looked at, and I re-looked at his tape at Baylor, the catches he made with these subpar quarterbacks in New York, he made a lot of behind the head catches. guys underthrowing the ball where he's got to jump, he's got to out jump the defender. He's got to stop his motion, come back to the ball. Like there was a lot of things that goes into that. And to his credit, like I say, 42 receptions. He had almost 700 yards. He's got 676 yards on 42 receptions.
Mhm.
Most guys get that in a year. Midway through the year. And that's all he got in 3 years. So again, it's just the opportunity. It don't matter if I'm open, if I got a guy that's running for his life and can keep his eyes down the field. So
Okay.
as far as talent based, Mims has the talent. Well, he had the talent coming out of Baylor. 3 years out, he understands the NFL a little bit better. The verdict should not be out on him until he puts the Lions jersey on. I think he's going to be wearing number 17. And then we see what he actually does. You know,
I think
then
that's fair.
really, really grade him out. But if he does ball out, Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, dude, I got Garrett Wilson. Fuck, I got Berrios, but Berrios is a special teams guy. You know, what am I supposed to do? And then he's right back in the same situation he had in Green Bay, where he had Devontae Adams and nobody else.
So Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's the next wide receiver that we wanted to talk about. Here's the deal. I'm gonna talk as if I'm Bobby Bless for a minute. Okay, this is not an impression. This is not an impression.
Don't go full Bobby, man. Don't go full Bobby.
But listen, on this point, I already agree with you because I feel like I know what you're gonna say. So Bobby is never impressed by what players do until they start putting on the pads and hitting one another. Okay.
Right.
At the same time, I wonder how much weight do we put into these people saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown is looking like a different dude this year in all of the best possible ways. I want to go to Bobby first because Bobby, he's not in pads right now, but supposedly he is doing some miracle things out there. Are you buying that hype? Do you put any weight into that? Or are you going with your classic philosophy of talk to me when they start hitting each other with pads on?
I'm going to say, of course I feel that way about the pads because he ain't hitting, but this ain't the first time he really showed out in preseason. I remember, if I wasn't mistaken, was last year or the year before that, he jumped over a whole guy during the damn training camp, catching the ball and running and stuff. So this is what he do, man. He put in work. That's what training camp do. As a technician of the game of football, like St. Brown is, he practice football every day. So this is more of a just that. Yeah, you expect a Corvette to go fast, don't you? So the Corvette going fast. But I will say this though, he don't look satisfied at all. Most people, especially with us Detroit Lions, get all the accolades like St. Brown did, even winning best catch at the Pro Bowl, all that stuff. You've been hearing a lot of stuff about him. He ain't satisfied one bit. He's still hungry. So his hunger shows in how like he catching balls at the practice, all that. He's consistent, working on his craft. So I say that much. But as far as like, it's some people like even at work, at where I work, you know, with this guy, I ain't got to worry about him not doing the work or whatever. I can go and worry about something else. St. Brown ain't a guy I'm worried about. You feel me? So I'm going to say good, no news. I mean, all the news for him is good. You know what I mean? People is actually seeing his gangster, as we say. They know that boy good. You know what I mean? And he's showing that he good. So I think he just doing good, just advertising himself. And St. Brown is well on his way of being an all-pro. Because he right up there with Jefferson with the numbers. And I know you like numbers, Elijah. So
I certainly do.
So shout out to Reggie Punches, the number guy.
So Nate, are you putting a lot of hype into what they're saying about Amon-Ra, or How you feeling about this? Because you know they always look for stories during training camp season.
Well, the thing about it is also, you can't put too much in it. But I also want to see a guy working on his craft.
Mhm.
So, yeah, speed and all that comes into play when you're talking about pads. So we already knew what he could do with the pads on. We've seen this, but now it's about focus. It's about consistently getting on that jug machine. It's consistently getting your hand-eye coordination. When you meet the ball, making sure that you're not dropping, you're catching it, you're putting it away. All these type of things you can do without having the pads on. And Amon-Ra has taken that by the horns. He's taken Jamison under his wing. They have Calvin sitting there at practice now. Calvin walking around the organization. That was Luna. He's howling. But yeah, man, I mean, it's one of those things, and it's funny because Amon-Ra, what he also has done, he went back and looked at his scouting report.
Mhm.
Come get your dog, girl. And he looked at his scouting and how they said he was slow. He had average hands. He had below average footwork or average footwork, all these type of things. He wasn't a physical wide receiver. He's going to need to get tougher. And they actually had him do a video of it as he was reading it. And he was like, wait, what? So this is what they've seen me execute me? And I think that also added on it. On top of the fact, he knows every wide receiver that was taken in front of him.
Right.
Yeah, he's super petty. He's super petty.
Here,
he is the petty.
Loves Detroit, but you want a guy, in the words of the great Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, you don't want a guy that you have to make work out. You don't want a guy you have to make get in the weight room. You don't want a guy that you have to constantly motivate him to be great, motivate him to be better. And he does it on his own. And that's also a testament to his dad, being a former bodybuilder, having an older brother, and them constantly being in that workout format. That's huge. Yes, baby.
So just real quick, and this wasn't on our discussion list, but it is about Amon-Ra, so I want to throw this in here now before I forget to do it. So, and I don't know if the fellas would agree with me on this, but my comparison for Amon-Ra, maybe not so much in playing style, but I would say in attitude and toughness. To me, I think he's our version of Pittsburgh Steelers great Hines Ward.
I knew that's where you was going.
But that to me,
I'm so glad you went there because I thought no telling with you sometimes. But that was great. Yes,
but like I said, to me, I remember those Pittsburgh Steelers teams that had Big Ben. They had, obviously the bus, and then they had Hines Ward. And I remember folks talking about Hines Ward, and it was never like Hines Ward is the best receiver in the game right now. That was never really the conversation around him. But he was somebody you did not have to worry about. If it was third down, he's coming across the middle. He's catching it. He's getting a first down. He is Mr. Reliable. And I feel like Amon-Ra is that for us. I don't know that he'll ever be the number one wide receiver in the league. I know he's going to work like the number one wide receiver in the league because that's what he does. And hopefully he gets there. That'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. But even if he doesn't, he's still Mr. Reliable in my eyes. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that comparison of Hines Ward. And is there anybody else you would compare Amon-Ra to at this point in his career as he heads into year 3 of being a Detroit Lion?
I actually agree with that. And the main thing that I remember about Hines Ward, I don't know if it was Ray Lewis or one of them guys on the he was going against, but they said he plays offense like he's on defense. So that's like one of the most toughest things I heard. And I remember it was a bounty out on Hines Ward. He was knocking out. So I'm definitely with that. I say the attitude, yes, and like you had the little caveat about not saying he played like he ain't dirty because
Yeah.
Heinz Ward was a dirty something, but you know what? But yeah, I love the I like he was saying, like it's funny that even Nate had brung that up. St. Brown himself was speaking on the Mamba mentality that you was kind of referring to in your last thing you said, Big Dog. So yes on both parts. I was gonna really go like you said, Heinz Ward, Kobe Bryant. Like he reminds me more of Kobe than I would say Heinz Ward. But as far as like the mentality that, hey, I'm with that chip on your shoulder kind of thing. So I agree with that. But as far as like St. Brown, like he don't never take a day off on football. Yeah. I think he'd be at his wedding catching balls out the jug machine. So I don't know. He's a different guy, just like Kobe. So
Nate, is there a player outside of Heinz Ward that you would compare him to? And what did you think about the Heinz Ward?
Actually, I mean, the Heinz Ward thing is perfect because I knew where you were going. I've always seen him as a Heinz Ward, but I also see a lot of Golden Tate with the physicality. Heinz Ward was not very fast at all. Amon-Ra has the separation ability
Justin Herbert
that Golden Tate had, that Golden Tate had. I love the way he works the middle, like a Julian Edelman or a younger Danny Amendola. Guys who aren't afraid to go over the middle, who make the cuts, who make the tough catches, who have excellent footwork, excellent body control, but the physicality is 100% Heinz Ward, 100%. Like Heinz Ward was a brutal blocker for a wide receiver. Brutal. I've seen Heinz Ward drop linebackers on crackback blocks back in the day. So, though, that's definitely one of the things that Amon-Ra does very well. They block, they're physical, he runs through tackles. He's not the diva type wide receiver. He's physical.
And he was a quarterback too. He was a quarterback in college. He was a real football player. Heinz Ward wasn't no joke. And what's that? I just remember one of them football lives. They said Ray Lewis and them said it was a $10,000 bounty on whoever could knock the smile off of Heinz Ward's face.
Yeah,
that was they was so dirty out there, boy. Ooh-wee.
So speaking of smiling, we just got some breaking news. We're gonna go to our breaking news correspondent. He didn't know he had that job, but now he does. Bobby Bless, you got some breaking news. What's going on?
Yeah. Justin Herbert just got paid. How much he get paid, Brenda? For how many years? He got $262 million. 5 years, $262 million. So wow. I'm expecting Joe Burrow gonna get more than that. So must be nice.
Man,
must be nice.
On the one hand, I'm happy for him because I'm not somebody who's bitter about that type of stuff. But like on the one hand, I'm happy for him. On the other hand, it kind of makes me think about our conversation last week, which I don't want to get into all that right now. But I just look at it and I go, well, all these quarterbacks making all this money, it's like Jared Goff's gonna want that bag again. I don't know.
Shit, they ain't paying the running backs no more. It's more money out there. Yeah.
We should have took Herbert, but we took this cornerback who's somewhere down in Atlanta now. But again,
that's right.
Yeah, whatever.
I like Justin Herbert, but I feel like he's playing for a cursed franchise. And I know when I say that, a lot of people are like, really? Because we're cursed too. But like the Chargers are that one team, man, you can never trust them. Never trust anything you hear about the Chargers. Because 9 times out of 10, they will let you down. They will let you down.
Honestly paid Drew Brees, I could have honestly seen the Chargers with a couple of Super Bowls by now.
Yeah, even if you know with Drew Brees leaving, they could have.
Philip Rivers was good though.
Yeah,
Philip Rivers was good too.
And but Philip Rivers still he ain't Drew Brees.
but the thing that gets me about Phillip Rivers, and I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but in college, because I obviously living in Atlanta during that time frame, I was able to hear a lot about Phillip Rivers. He was like one of the bigger quarterbacks they always
It's
discuss.
NC State. NC State.
Yeah. His pro comparison was Dan Marino. And if you
Oh,
look at his
hell
stats,
no.
if you look at his stats, it's a damn shame because he pretty much became Dan Marino, where he had all
He
the
had a lot
stats
of
in the
attempts.
world.
Yeah,
But
He had
remember, what he did was he changed his delivery. That
He had
was
a
one
hitch.
of the problems that they talked about Phillip Rivers was his release, his
Mhm.
delivery
They jumped
with the ball.
Yeah, they jumped the route on his hitch and his delivery. I remember.
Yeah,
sure
he
did.
had a hitch and had a tendency to double tap the ball whenever he got ready.
Oh
to throw.
yeah, and a good DB. As soon as you tap it, he gonna break.
Yeah.
Mhm. So let's talk
That's
about running backs here for a minute. So
Okay.
we want to go to Bobby Bless again because Bobby has been, obviously keeping a watchful eye over all
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Training camp.
The Black Adam Schefter. I got my phone right here now, waiting on the intel.
So Bobby, our running backs coach, you seem to like this guy. Why is that?
Yeah, man, because like we were saying in the group, man, Deuce Stalin, me personally, I felt like it was gonna be hard to replace him, man. To be honest, just not like no X and O's, just the hold the players accountable. Because you can be a player coach all you want, but you still need a bad guy on the team that don't take that BS, And Scotty Montgomery, he's also the assistant coach, so he's basically filling in the same role Hines Ward was doing. So it was just interesting to see the running backs was doing the drill when they go through the ropes and whatnot. And he said something that really sticked out. He said, "We're not trying to do this fast. We're trying to do this right. We are professionals now. Do not do it fast. Do it professional."
Mhm.
And then he also cussed too, so it makes it more realer to me. So, because you can always have somebody say the right thing, but if it ain't got no cuss word, it ain't real to me. Not that I got a
Ain't no
foul mouth.
energy in that.
Yeah. I don't believe you though. But he said, soon he making I want to say it was Craig Reynolds, but I don't want to I don't remember what I was saying. I was more of what I was hearing. But the guy went through the rope, he touched the rope, he said, "Stop, start all over. Stop, start all over." He not playing. You gonna do this shit the right way. You feel me?
Mhm.
So I'm loving that. You know what I mean? Because you get these guys, they player coaches, they don't want to be the bad guy, but no, you're gonna do this the right way with me. Now, I don't know who the other guy I'm pretty sure Hines Ward was the guy that probably would have said the same type thing, but it don't even matter no more because I'm telling you right now, we're gonna do it this way now. So that alone, just with the running backs, make me happy. But it also makes me know that this guy is probably going to be a future head coach. Also, you hear a lot about Ben Johnson, and as you know, we're not gonna get deep into it. That black coaches don't get an opportunity. This guy, if he do get an opportunity, I don't know if they're gonna win or lose, but they're gonna be doing the shit right. So I think he's gonna be a leader in this league. Honestly, I like that. So that's more so I would say. It was more of a teaching moment more than anything I can just dictate and put on paper to show you what it means. You just gotta watch the video, you gotta feel the vibe, and you'll understand where I'm coming from with it, Elijah.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And before I toss it to Nate, Bobby was touching on something there towards the end of what he was saying, and I agree with Bobby, by the way, about like doing it right, do it professionally. I think that's cool to hear that, especially at the pro level of football, because sometimes they're like, we just need to be the best we can be for game day. That's all we need to do.
And I think he might have just said it. We are not in college no more. We are professionals. Right. So he letting them know, man, I don't care what you did in college, you're gonna do it right now. So I like it, man. I like him, man. I think he's gonna be okay.
So briefly, I'll say this. This is just my personal opinion. Okay, the guys don't have to co-sign this opinion, but this is just mine. there's a lot of talk about creating a minor league system for the NFL. You hear about it every couple of months, people talking about that, and how maybe some of these spring leagues could eventually be that. Now, I don't know that the NFL will ever actually make an agreement like that with any of these leagues. They did have NFL Europe back when I first started watching football, and I loved NFL Europe. I thought it was one of the best things they ever did. But I don't know that they'll ever actually do a, for sure, bona fide minor league system like we all kind of want them to do. But if they did, okay, if they did, or even if they just wanted to do what they currently do, I would love for them to use these spring leagues as an opportunity to give guys an opportunity to be head coaches who maybe have not had that opportunity yet. So, because right now you hear the NFL talking about, well, we have a partnership with the XFL and the USFL where we give them rules that we want to see implemented so we can see how it looks first before we bring those rules into our league. And it's like, okay, that's great for the rules. That seems to be working. But why don't you do that with the coaches too? And front office positions? Because there's a lot of guys in the league right now that one of the main things, and I think a lot of the excuses that are used are BS as to why they don't give people a job. But one of the main excuses is, well, they don't have the head coaching experience. Well, why don't you let them get experience by coaching in the XFL or the USFL? So I just want to throw that out there. That's what I hope to see the league do eventually. I don't know that they'll ever do it, but I think that would be a hell of a partnership to get these guys some time being head coaches at the professional level.
And
I'll toss it over to Nate here.
Oh, just real quick, Nate, real quick. I don't even want to say much, but it just shows like even with Dan Campbell, he believe it or not, he gives brothers a chance, to be honest, just flat out. Because if he didn't want them to be the coach, he wouldn't coach. So I love that. And the fact that you like Dan Campbell, you done gave some brothers a chance, Elijah. So I feel you got good vibes, brother. So, but make a long story short, it always start with the top. And if you got a guy like Mr. Montgomery, that means he's certified, man. Because that means you ain't letting nobody around that you don't like, or you got any pause or guys. Basically, like the nepotism thing. This ain't your brother's cousin, sister, a brother kind of thing. So the right man is for the job. This man is there to do a job, and you better pay attention. That's all I'm kind of thing. So.
Nate, what are your thoughts on Scotty Montgomery? And if you want to, you can comment on what I said too about the other thing, but you don't have to.
Scotty Montgomery, I think, was going to be, he's a good hire. And one thing he's not doing is letting the guys off the hook. He's basically picking up where Deuce Staley left off. And if anybody remember the Hard Knocks, he was hard. He was hard on them running backs. He challenged them every practice, every play. And if you ain't doing it perfect, Deuce Staley will pull you out. We seen that with DeAndre Swift. And then he would ask them, okay, well, you didn't follow that, but why didn't you follow that? Help me to understand. Let me see, is there a reason why you're not following it? And how is your vision working? And that was huge. So I definitely like that. Like I say, you got to practice what you preach. Perfection is only as good as many times as you do it. You get into that comfort zone, and that's just all it is. It's just about being comfortable. And as far as number one, I doubt if that will ever happen. I actually wouldn't want it to happen. I would rather than the USFL and the XFL, because number one, football is a collision sport. When you are bringing these guys up after a game, then you're going to have to try to figure out the timing, what is going to be the schedule. You want these guys to be in shape, so they're going to be running games during the NFL season. So, because how do I know? Because if I don't run these, if I'm not running these games during the NFL season, how can I honestly say you're in game shape? So when you're talking about basketball, like when they do it, when they do their G League, these guys will have a game the night before. Sometimes they'll have a basketball game the day of and then join the big club. Because number one, as we know, there's a difference between rust and being in actual game shape, having your body in tune.
Mhm.
So when you get to doing that, I think that the risk for injury is higher. Like I say, this ain't basketball. This is a collision sport where these guys are banging their bodies up. So they're going to need time to recuperate. They're going to need that time off. They're going to need those rest days. So, which is why I would rather them use the USFL, the XFL, and as they're doing, promoting guys to their practice league, to their practice squad, so that we're not putting you in that physical contact. It's different if you have non-contact injuries versus contact injuries. Because what you do, you run the risk for concussions. And all these other type of injuries that can derail a guy from actually making it to the big league. So I think that risk is a little too high, which is most likely why I don't think they would do it. I mean,
so it's like an
an
insurance issue, huh? An insurance issue almost.
Because if we go ahead, okay, so we start a minor league affiliate or an off-brand USFL, whatever, where the guys that we draft are undrafted free agents, guys that are on our practice squad, they're going to be playing against other teams' practice squads. But remember, the motive is to make it to the league, so they're not going to be taking it easy. They're going to be playing just to make it to the field as the other guys are. And then the risk for injuries, concussions, the hard hits, I actually think they're going to be amplified because you want to get noticed. You want to get noticed for what you do, whether it's a hit, whether it's been a hitter, a ball hawk, play recognition, all these type of things. I just don't think that would work in the NFL's favor.
So
that's just my.
So I definitely get what you're saying, but just as a point of clarification, so what I was talking about was not necessarily creating their own minor league that plays, at the same time as the NFL, but actually creating a minor league partnership with USFL and XFL who play in the spring. So it wouldn't be a situation where they'd be playing at the same time. They would still have all those players that need a little bit more seasoning, for lack of a better term.
Okay. So basically, they would go to a team that is, these players on this team are primarily Detroit Lions.
Right.
Yeah, they're primarily Detroit Lions. You're going to go down
like
here.
the Michigan Panthers. They would be, the Michigan Panthers would be the farm team for the Detroit Lions.
Right. Okay, I get that. But and then at the same, they might as well I would just say just stick to where it is. Because even now, you're able to sign guys off of any team's practice league, any team's practice squad. You can do that. I mean, whether it's the USFL or the XFL, a guy catches your eye, you can grab him. You can bring him to the facility. You can still do the same thing. I just think that in order for that to truly work, a guy would literally have to be incorporated at that same time that the season's going, because otherwise you're going to need time for reps. You're going to need, and all this is going to be going on during the season.
Okay.
So,
and like I said, I just thought, hey, one of the biggest excuses is, they don't have the head coaching record. Well, hey, I mean, if you let them coach in the USFL or the XFL, they'll get a coaching record and they'll have that experience, and they might even end up being a better coach because they got to coach at those levels of football. But
yeah, and
I get what you're saying.
One of the things that they do, because there's former NFL coaches in the USFL right now. you know, guys who, you know, could be assistants or things of that nature that are getting that coaching experience. So I get what you're saying. Like I say, they're basically, I mean, that's essentially what they're doing now. It's just not primarily owned by one particular NFL team.
Right. Okay. So we do have a couple other topics to get to this evening. Remember, please like, comment, and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. We all had a little bit of a scare the other day. I think that's a fair way of saying it. CJ Gardner-Johnson went down with, at first it was reported as a non-contact injury, and then I heard it reported as it was a little bit of contact, but not much. But point being, he was carted off the field. He was emotional, and Lions fans were all kind of going, oh, no. So I just want to go through the feeling of that day and what y'all were doing when you got that news. We'll start with Bobby.
Yeah, I was at work, of course. For some reason, that's where I live half my time. But I was at work, and one of my coworkers came up to me like, "Oh, sorry, Gardner-Johnson got hurt." I wasn't like, it wasn't a doomsday scenario for me, to be honest. For me, just being around Lions football, you ain't gonna tell me the season over with the second day in camp. I don't give a damn who got hurt. We got coaches, we got pros. It's not next man up, but it's time for the guy that was supposed to replace him to get the full install and get all, you know. So I wasn't thinking do nothing scenario, but I was, I felt more bad for him than just like as for the Lions a whole. But I also remember Brad Holmes drafted the Branch kid from Alabama. Brad Holmes draft picks come in and ball out, even the 6 rounders. So I was just thinking more, shoot, I think Branch gonna go. I think hopefully Branch is gonna get ready. I was more excited to see Branch in full go because it seemed like, from what I was seeing with him, that they was kind of like baby steps with him, kind of thing. But I was relieved. I'm not gonna act like I wasn't relieved when I seen that it was just no structural damage. But on the joking side, I got a Chicago Bears boss, so he's gonna say, because he wasn't laughing about him getting injured. He was talking about no structural damage, nothing. He wasn't. So why was he on the field tearing up, crying and shit? Then that kind of shit, just being an asshole, like he was a punk or something. So I thought that was funny. But I was just, I was like, damn, it's always something type thing. But I wasn't really thinking it was over with. I was just excited because believe it or not, that secondary room kind of deep anyway. So.
Right. Nate, where were you when you heard, and what was your process?
I actually was at home. I don't get bent out of shape. I waited for the medical report just to see what happened because we got to remember that it's training camp. So, hell, a guy can break his fingernail and they're gonna shut him down. They want to limit as many injuries as they can. So, I think, like I say, precautionary. So I didn't get bent out of shape, even though, like I say, he was carted off. Like I said, the initial thing was non-contact, and it was the knee. So, yeah, I was like, okay, this could be bad, but let's just wait and see before we truly panic or look at it any other type of way. He was going to get an MRI. So let's wait till these results come back, read the press clippings, and then go from there. But like I said, like Bobby said, I mean, I wasn't so much as worried about it. I just looked at it, okay, this was a big free agent get for us. But I also trust in Brad Holmes, Brian Branch, sitting out there watching, learning, so I wasn't as worried. I won't say I'm eager to see what Brian Branch can do because we definitely want him to learn. But I was bent out of shape about it. And as we say, the confidence we have in this team now under this new regime is different, where we don't get into mode. So, but I wasn't bent out of shape. Not one bit.
So for me, I guess I'll be the person who is the highly emotional one. No. So for me, I heard about it and I immediately felt so bad for the player. Okay. I don't know much about CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know that, he is somebody who talks the talk and he backs it up. I do know that about him. And I admire that about him. But I felt really bad for him because he's on a 1-year kind of prove it deal. That's what he's on right now. And so for me, I'm kind of looking at that going, man, that sucks, because, you're on a 1-year prove it deal. And now if you have a season ending injury, now you're talking about, whenever you talk to a team, the footage you give them is going to be 2 years old at that point, because you have nothing you can show them from this past season. So I have thought about the person and that was my first thought, was about the person. And then I thought about the team. And for me, when it comes to our team, I'm looking at it going, okay, so we survived last year without having veteran leadership on that back end. We were able to make it work. It took a while, but we were able to make it work. I believe we're in a better position this season that if something like that were to happen, God forbid, knock on wood, but if something like that were to happen, I feel like we'd be all right. I don't feel like it would be a doomsday scenario. I feel like we'd be okay. However, okay, when you spend money on a guy like that, you want him out there.
Yeah.
Because even if he's on the sideline, right? And I'd imagine that he'd be one of those guys where if he was hurt, he'd still be on the sideline trying to help where he can. It ain't the same, okay? It ain't the same whenever you're trying to tell a player what they should do on the sideline versus actually being out there and they can depend on you to help them if they slack a little bit. And that's one of the things I can say as somebody who has coached before. One of the most frustrating things for me when I was coaching was when my quarterback would come to the sideline and I would be like, okay, what did you see out there? And he's having difficulty explaining what he saw. And I'm trying to tell him what I would have done in that situation. And it's frustrating because I'm not out there with him. You know what I mean? I can't show him what I'm talking about. I can only explain it and hope he will take what I'm saying in the moment during a game and go out there and do what I'm asking him to do. So I'm glad that CJ Gardner-Johnson turned out to be okay. He is day to day. I don't think you'll see him much more in training camp personally.
He already know the system. So I don't think you really need, I think it's just let's Branch take this reps, and people forget, just to throw this out here too, Elijah, that Tracy Walker is almost like a damn free agent acquisition because we didn't have him last year. So we got a lot back there. We definitely in a better spot, and I love how you put that too.
So that's kind of my thoughts on the CJ Gardner-Johnson thing. Like I said, I would not expect to see him though. Probably for the rest of training camp. I would expect Branch to get a lot of those reps, as Bobby just told you. And I don't even know if you see CJ Gardner-Johnson in the preseason, to be honest with you. And I think you would have seen him a little bit prior to the injury scare, but I don't think you see him at this point after the injury scare. I think they're going to save him until Kansas City. That's what I personally believe. So I think we went around the room. We got everybody, right? I know, Bob, you went. Nate, did you go?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. So let's go on to our next topic here. Teddy Bridgewater. He came in for a visit. We've been hearing about Teddy Bridgewater, it feels like, for the past year. I feel like every single time that the writers for Detroit need something to throw in for a day they're just not feeling it, they say, hey, let's talk about Teddy Bridgewater again. But now he's actually made a visit to Detroit. How do you guys feel about the potential of Teddy Bridgewater? And I'll go first here, and then I'll toss it to Bobby just to buy us a little bit of time here. So Teddy Bridgewater, to me, okay, he is kind of a what-if guy, in my opinion, because I remember him at Louisville. He was an absolute baller at Louisville.
He is a dog. He's a dog. Yes,
he was really, really good. And if you're not familiar with that, I would encourage you to go watch some Louisville games with Teddy Bridgewater. They were entertaining as hell.
Who
He
is his
goes-
receiver? His receiver was good too.
I forget.
Damn, I
forget
can't
the
remember.
receiver name.
He was sweet too.
But Teddy Bridgewater was that guy at Louisville. Then he goes to Minnesota and he's like learning the system there. I kind of think they were trying to force him to be something that maybe he wasn't. But the reason why I call him a what if guy is because the year that he finally seemed to have it all together, he had
You heard
that
his name.
horrific injury in training camp, which kind of a weird segue there from CJ Gardner-Johnson to Teddy Bridgewater like that. But he had that horrific injury. And then for the next couple of years, he had to fight to even get back on the football field. And then when he did, he was the backup for Drew Brees, if you remember, played well in spot duty, got himself a new contract. Then I believe he went to Carolina and then Denver. And he's never been a starter guy anymore, but I feel like he's a very good guy to learn from. He's got a ton of experience. And I don't think this says too much about Jared Goff, because I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is anywhere near Jared Goff's talent level, personally. But I think that they might be bringing in Teddy, if they do bring him in, to help out Hendon. Because he can tell Hendon things that he went through. Because Jared Goff on a weekly basis, I don't know how much time Jared Goff is going to have to really help Hendon Hooker. Plus,
Hendon Hooker better be watching.
do
He
it.
better be watching. He better be
Right.
watching. He ain't got to get click under his wing. He better be watching.
But if you have Teddy Bridgewater as the backup quarterback, I think Teddy could do that. Teddy could help Jared Goff with what he needs help with, and he could help Hendon Hooker learn what he needs to learn as a professional. That's just my personal opinion. Again, Teddy Bridgewater, I wish he never had that injury, but if he never had that injury, he might still be the Vikings quarterback right now, if that didn't end up happening. But let me toss it over to Bobby. Bobby, I mean, I know for you, you're probably going to say for the right price, you're into it. But what do you think about Teddy Bridgewater?
To be honest, I think him and Goff is kind of like that. He's like a backup. He's a Goff backup, like, because they don't throw like super far. They accurate. They don't make risky throws. You can start Teddy Bridgewater when Goff want to put on the gloves. Might as well go and put Bridgewater on in there. Fuck that. I don't want to see. I'd rather see Bridgewater than Goff with the gloves. But make a long story short, though, I think Teddy Bridgewater is a guy. He make accurate throws. He's been in the division. He knows what hotel they're gonna stay at or whatever, kind of thing. He'll understand the importance of these damn division games. He's probably actually the only quarterback we done had in years that actually won the NFC fucking North. So that'd be good just to have his experience. And like you said, man, what's the guy name with the mean handoff like you always say?
Oh, Sudfeld. Yeah, Sudfeld.
Yeah, man.
Mean handoff in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Him, man. No, man. Man, pay Teddy Bridgewater. You feel me? Pay him. Pay that man. Because if something was, he's not the tire. He's the spare tire. You don't roll on him the whole game, the whole season. You just temporarily use him until you get the other tire fixed. I like Teddy Bridgewater as far as a backup. You don't want your backup. You're lucky if you get a backup that can actually play the whole season to be successful. But I think Teddy Bridgewater, if something were to happen to Goff, knock on wood, that he'd be good in a good 3 to 5 week stretch, and especially with division games, he wouldn't be, it wouldn't be nothing that's bigger than him. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be good. And if I'm not mistaken, he'd been around Dan Campbell before with the Saints. So
oh yeah, probably. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I forgot. I think so. So I'm willing to bet that he gonna come in. He gonna already know what to do. He gonna know his role. He gonna shut his mouth kind of thing. But he also gonna know that he also know that he's gonna be relied to be ready when called on. So I'm with that.
I tell you what, though, like before we go to Nate, I would love that quarterback room. If it was Goff, Bridgewater, and Hendon Hooker, I would feel pretty good about that room. I'd feel a lot better about that room actually than I have in years, because it feels like the last 10 years or so, the backup quarterbacks we had were never guys who ever started for any other team. It was always guys that we picked up, either as undrafted or late round guys to see what they could do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yep. And another thing too that you got to realize too, that in this league, when we're at the cusp of being the team we want to be, we can't have nobody go down where we can't replace them and keep this thing rolling. Teddy Bridgewater, if he was, like I said, if Goff was to go down, we put Bridgewater in, I wouldn't be panicking like if we put the handoff all-star in. So
So Nate, what are your thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater? And do you agree with me that it feels like we've been talking about this guy for like a year?
Yeah, but that's because we did it all in the off season. We talked about the visits. But also one of the things is it's something that the Lions never did when you have Matthew Stafford. You never had a guy who had the ability to take that job if you don't do your job.
Right.
That's the biggest part. You know what you get with Teddy Bridgewater. You know what you get with Jared Goff. So if Jared Goff comes out cold, isn't connecting, he's missing throws, missing reads, so on and so forth.
Like he was in Carolina and with the Patriots, he was them outside games with them glove games. Glove games.
So when you get Teddy Bridgewater, a guy who's, guess what? And he's itching. He's itching to be the number one guy. Like, yeah, he's a guy who accepts whatever role he has, but if given the opportunity, he gonna snatch it.
Right.
So it puts pressure on Jared Goff. When we talked about contracts and things of that nature, it puts pressure on him to continue to be better. You cannot regress. You have to be better. So when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater, like I say, hey, I'll be all for it.
So we want to go on now to a subject which, I'll be honest, I remember when they first started doing these lists on television, because I'm sure they've always done these lists previously, but on television, they kind of started making a big deal about it, I feel like 5 or 6 years ago, where they started making the top 100 a big deal. Well, one of our guys clocked in on the top 100, and I got a feeling we'll have more on the top 100 this year. But Nate is the one who brought this to our attention, so we're going to wait for Nate here to talk about this player who has clocked in at number 88 overall in the top 100. He was a pretty big player for us last year. And while we have a second before Nate comes back, right now he's wearing his cloak of invisibility. But we do want to remind everybody to like, comment, and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it, as we want to make sure.
I didn't go nowhere.
Okay, all right. But we want to make sure that we're making our way towards 1,000. So
Luna is busy being a terrible toddler right now.
See, that's what Slinky's doing. Slinky keeps whining because she wants to get out into the living room where Mama is, and I have to hold her in here because I promised my wife. I said, listen, podcast usually goes for about 2 hours. We'll give you 2 hours of pure bliss and silence. So I don't want to break that promise, but as you can tell, she is not having any of this right now. So yeah, Luna and Slinky on the same schedule.
Yeah, so see, I'm fighting her. She wants to fight and wrestle and play.
Yeah.
So, as of course, Aiden Hutchinson came in, and it's very good to see a rookie defensive end start, instantly get that recognition of the league out of 1 year. It is awesome. One of the things we talked about when we talked about Aiden Hutchinson, we went through the draft process, I was telling people that he is the best read and react defensive end that came out of that draft. And it's funny. And that's what they were talking about doing the top 100. His ability to react, his hands, how he processes information, how he always creates a counter. It's man, Aiden already has the respect of these guys in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. Like they say, hey, I can't wait to see, what he does next year, well, this coming year, because now he's got a year under his belt learning these offensive tackles, learning the defense, learning what these referees will and will not call. Man, it's good. But it's also going to be a test for him because there's film on him now.
Right.
So, hey, if you are great, if you're going to be great, hey, now we got to really, really show it.
Right. Bobby, your thoughts on Aiden Hutchinson?
Hey, Aiden Hutchinson, my guy. I invested in Aiden Hutchinson already by buying his jersey his rookie year. So I'm good with that. I'm glad to see that he's getting the recognition that he does deserve. I remember week one, like they was talking so much stuff about it. They called him a bust after one game. It seems like he's got better at every game. So I'm glad to see that he's getting the recognition he deserves. But that just shows, believe it or not, Elijah, the part that you missed about the top 100 list is voted among the players, among his peers. So it's guys that's actually out there on the field with him. I think it's a really credible list because the guys that's out there playing with you respect you. That means you pretty damn good. It's not a guy. It ain't me and you, Elijah, looking to see who the best is. The guys is going up against them. So I think it's good. He's getting the respect he deserves, and I'm happy for the kid, and I want to see James Houston go in the same direction. But as far as Aiden Hutchinson for number 2 pick, I think he's well on his way of justifying why we selected him at that spot. And a residue of that is being one of the top 100 players in the league. Because if you 1 or 2, I'm thinking you better be a top 100 already, maybe type thing. Yeah. So he's in the right direction. He's not a bust. Because I swear, man, I think if I'm not mistaken, one of the episodes last year, Nate was calling the people that was calling Aiden Hutchinson a bust stupid boy. So don't be a stupid boy.
Right.
Don't be a stupid boy no more. You got the first one, but anytime after that is on you. But I'm happy with his growth. I'm happy. And he's still hungry too. And that's the sentiment that I said earlier with St. Brown and with Denzel Mims. This whole team frothing at the mouth. 9 wins wasn't good enough. Remember we had that little joke today about hey, these guys really believe it, but they ain't said it. But you can just tell by their actions that they believe 9 wins wasn't good enough. And I can't wait to see them hit the field for real, because they saying all the right things. They got all the right energy. Let's hope it all come together for us.
So for me, what I'll say is that I'm very excited to see the recognition for our players, especially our younger players that we have in this roster, and how they're all kind of taking leadership positions, even though they are so young. That's nice to see. I just had a thought though. Wouldn't that be something? Now, I don't think this would be a controversy at all. Okay. But I know people would play it as one. If James Houston ends up on this list in a higher position than Aiden Hutchinson.
Ain't no way. He ain't on the list.
Ain't no way.
He probably won't
ain't no
be.
Way.
But you already know people would be playing 9 innings of ball with that if that does end up happening. But right now,
you're just a shit starter. You're just a shit starter, Elijah. That's all.
But
you're the shit starter.
It ain't no way. That boy.
But I'm not even trying to start shit though. I just think James Houston, being somebody who was drafted where he was drafted, yes, he was expected to be a great player when he came out of high school. I know that, but being drafted where he was drafted, I think he was one of the best stories of last season.
Oh, definitely.
And I think for that might stick out in some players' heads and go, wait a minute, yeah, this was a guy we weren't even looking at.
But like kind of like with LeBron James though, he living up to the hype. There was no hype behind James Houston, so so like when they saying wow, that's Houston, but it's different from there go that Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
Here he comes. Oh, he's a bad mother. Yeah. So the fact that you living up to the hype would make it more realer, I guess, if that's a word I can use. But none with Houston. Yeah, bigger story. But James Houston just was a pleasant surprise. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was on there next year. That's
Yeah,
where I
that's
would
for
be.
sure.
There you
That's
go.
for sure.
That's all I'm saying.
So here's
So
what we're
my
gonna
next
do.
question, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think any other Lion makes this list? And if
Oh,
so,
hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
St.
yeah.
Brown.
if so, what number and who makes it?
Jared Goff is on that damn list. I hope.
You call me a shit starter. Like, come on now.
Jared Goff should be on that list. St. Brown should be on that list. And no, that's about it on the defense. That either them two. Because ain't nothing else on the defense. Ain't nobody on that defense.
You're forgetting
Who?
somebody.
You
forgetting
forget
somebody.
who?
All right, so here's what I think is going to happen. If this list was written by me, obviously it would have a lot more players on it. But I think realistically speaking, you could also see Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he'll be in the mid-30s. That's where I think he'll be. Jared Goff, I think you'll see him closer to the top 25, but maybe not exactly in the top 25, but he did have a really good year last year. I think you would see Rodrigo in there.
No.
I think he'll probably be in like the 70s, but I think he was a big enough linebacker where that's a big
no. Aiden Hutchinson had a better season than Rodrigo to me. No.
And then I would also say Kirby Joseph. Because Kirby Joseph gets the honor for the rest of his life of being the man that picked off the last pass Aaron Rodgers threw at Lambeau.
Nope. We had the worst secondary in the motherfucking league. Nope. I don't care what he did. Nope.
That's what I think. Nate, you didn't go. So what do you think?
Yeah, who is your two, Nate?
All right, so I've got three that I say for sure are going to be on this list, and one of them isn't Jared Goff.
Panay, Panay Sewell, huh?
Oh yeah, see, I forgot about Panay.
You have Panay Sewell. You have Frank Ragnow.
No,
Amon-Ra. See, here's the thing. Ragnow is the second best center according to everybody. Is the second best center in all the NFL. So I can see Frank in between 50 and 60 somewhere.
Okay.
I ain't gonna argue with that because he is, but I definitely don't see no damn Rodrigo.
Around in between 80, 85. Well, between 75 and 80. And Amon-Ra between 30 and 35. I don't think Jared Goff makes this list, but I would not be surprised if he is. But Panay Sewell, his impact and how they already have him as a top 5 right tackle in the league already. Frank Wagner.
I forgot about Panay. I don't know that. Have you ever been on the list? Because this ain't his first year being a top center in the league.
No, it actually is. He's just been progressing. He didn't make it last year, but that was due to the fact that he was hurt.
Okay.
Remember, he was in and out. But Ragnow, Panay, Amon-Ra. I think if Rodrigo was gonna make it, he would have been somewhere between 90 and 100.
100 and 105 to 110. No, he's none of them back. No, hell no. What?
So here's what we're gonna do, fellas, because I know time is already eroding on us here for this episode. So we got one more subject, okay? And then our next episode, we're gonna start breaking down the schedule. Okay. So next episode, we're gonna go through like the first 6 games of the season, give you our thoughts and kind of talk about it, now that we actually have some more things going on leading up to this season, because we did talk about them a few months ago, but that was where the draft hadn't even happened yet whenever we were talking about that, if I'm not mistaken. So next episode, we'll break down those first 6 games, but we want to end this episode by talking about Jameson Williams and how he is doing some really awesome things. He's been on top of it here these last couple months. And I know he's got his critics out there, but hey, if you're going to be a critic, you also got to be honest. whenever somebody is doing something the right way. And it seems like Jameson Williams is doing that. Bobby, what do you think about Jameson Williams? I mean, obviously he's trying to get all that work in before he's got to sit for 6 weeks.
Well, to be honest, man, I already know Jameson Williams is a good football player. You know what I mean? I knew it was only a matter of time before all that route running. He's too fast. His speed is his damn route running. So the fact that he's one of the fastest players in the league, and he's actually the third fastest player on Madden this year. He's one of the fastest players in the league. He's going to always be a threat. He's going to always have guys guarding him, defending him with the cause to pause. So it's only a matter. It's talent. It's talent. He's so good. It's going to come out. I'm more interested of the Jameson Williams. What is he going to be doing those 6 damn weeks away from the team? I'm very interested to see him prove to people, because I'm team James. I'm team Jameson Williams. I'm interested to see him prove to people that he can, quote unquote, stay out of the news for 6 weeks, kind of thing. Because I'm pretty sure he's going to be another guy that's going to be bidding at the bite to get out there. So I'm interested to see him not get in trouble for them 3 weeks and let people know that he ain't a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just, got bad luck kind of thing with the knee and the semantics on the better. I think he's a good kid. But I also want to say this, though. That man is allowed to leave his house the 6 weeks he's locked. He's suspended. So I do not want to hear people say, "Oh, why Jameson Williams at McDonald's and all that shit," right? The man don't have to hide under his bed for 6 weeks. He can't be around the team for 6 weeks. So please, guys, when Jameson Williams is suspended, and if he want to go get a dang old hamburger, don't talk bad about the guy. If he want to go watch a movie, don't go talk bad about. If he want to take a woman out on a date, don't talk bad about him. That man ain't got to hide under his damn bed. He can get in his car. He can go wherever he go. If he wanted to go to Hawaii for the damn 6 weeks, that's his damn prerogative. So please don't talk about what he should be doing on his own damn time. That's a good way to get a Bobby cussing out or a Nate stupid boy. So
Jameson, mind your business, Williams. That's right.
That's good.
So Nate, this is going to be our last topic for the night, Nate. I'm not sure if you heard me say that or not, but Jameson Williams, what do you think so far? Obviously, like these last couple months.
Well, like I said, like me and Bobby said, man, is that people love the negative. Get down. People love the negative. And as long as it was something negative, that's all they were reporting.
Yeah.
Like didn't nobody report on his free camp deal again after we put the notice out, and then next thing you know, 2 days later, oh, Jameson Williams football camp was free for the kids and blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, if I was a kid, I'd have been begging my mom and dad to take me to that, man. I swear I would. I'd have had to. But Jameson is a good kid, Elijah. I swear. But he's one of those guys where if the more he's out on the field, the better he's gonna get. And as you see that little bit of taste that we got from him last year, man, the boy he was open. A lot of times he would make some plays with a few things. Like, to be honest, I think he had the greatest 2-catch season in NFL history, if you let me damn tell it. So it just leaves a lot to be desired, and it's a damn shame that he's suspended. But shoot, like I said before, man, I ain't surprised. Just like just show your work, and I'm pretty sure he was working with Jared Goff and hand in hand with St. Brown. Like, shoot, with a guy like St. Brown on the team, it's kind of hard not to be out there working on your craft. Yeah.
Right.
It make you St. Brown and make you look bad. So you better get with it, man. I just think he just got bad luck, man. I know so many guys like Jameson Williams. They're good dudes. They just trouble seem to find them, or city ships seem to find them. Like I can't for the life of me. I don't understand like how you got such bad like luck. But he's a good dude. I just think it's this is his chance to show everybody shut the hell up.
So for me, I'll just end it by saying this. You know, I'm excited to see what this kid does whenever he's not on suspension. Like I'm ready for that. I'm ready to see him become everything that we hope he will be and more. And I can't wait to see what this offense looks like whenever that happens. Because I mean, you very well could have an offense where, without even talking about Gibbs or Laporta or anybody else, you got, you know, Mims, you got Amon-Ra, and you got Jameson out there. I don't know how you're going to cover all of them.
We
so
got some fast dudes. This is the fastest team I can remember. Fastest Detroit Lions offense I can remember in a long time. Long time.
So
I'm fastest ever. That's it.
I'm excited about that. But right now, I believe Slinky Dog has got to go outside. So we're going to wrap this thing up here with closing remarks briefly. Let's start with Bobby. Bobby, closing remarks.
This my guy, Cletus, NFL Fox robot Cletus. Not Patricia, but this is Cletus' time to shine. No, I love you guys, man. I can't wait to talk next week about it. You know, see me in the group chat, fellas.
All right. Nate, closing remarks, my friend.
Man, good thing. Hey, just everybody just make sure that they like, subscribe, share the show. We want to continue to grow. Again, we're 40 episodes in, so it's good, man. Other than that, everybody stay blessed, everybody be safe, and everybody, hey, just be as healthy as you can be. And then
be nice to somebody too. Be nice to somebody.
All right, good. Been a big shout out to Reg. You know, he always put it down for the big fellas, and you know, unfortunately, wasn't able to make it tonight. But other than that, man, I'm good.
So just briefly, just want to say again, I appreciate all the fellows on the screen and the fellow that you're not seeing on the screen, Reggie. Obviously, again, he is a very, very, very talented individual, and we're very lucky to be able to do this with Reggie. And I'm lucky.
I don't even listen to nobody's numbers but his. Like, I don't even like pay attention.
For sure.
But Reggie.
For sure. So I just want to again say that I appreciate everybody who's involved in this show.
Oh, I'm telling them.
Takes a lot to get the whole thing together, and to be able to do it 40 episodes and counting is a super blessing. So, hey, if you've been asking us about merchandise, now we're asking you, have you made a purchase yet? That's right. So, hey, go buy yourself On the Hunt t-shirt. We'll get more merchandise up there for everybody. And hey, we appreciate y'all supporting the show.
Glad Lions hat.
Dog appreciates it too. She says, hey guys, buy some stuff. I need treats. That's right. Hey, until next time, be good to yourself, be good to others in that order. For the #1 Lions fan, you know, Mr. Bobby Bless, for Nate Rucker, Reggie